10?
Yes, it ends up being recorded to like YouTube.
Okay.
Are we live? No, yeah, okay.
For 10?
Yes, it ends up being recorded to like YouTube. All right, you're live now.
Okay, let's call the Amity Ad Hoc School Start Time Committee at 4:04 p.m. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so we all have the agenda. And Jen, is there anyone here for public comment?
We didn't receive any requests. No.
Oh. Okay, so thank you everyone for agreeing to join this meeting and be on this committee. So we're going to look at our goals and goals and objectives for our subcommittee. And Jen and I met a few weeks ago and discussed this. So we talked about that we wanted to look at potentially changing the start time for the middle school and the high school. And since we're partially regionalized there, we also wanted to gauge the interest of our elementary schools to see if they had an interest as well, since we have some shared services. And Jen has a BOA meeting in October. Jen, what is that date?
October 16th.
October 16th. So we were going to talk about, we can set our goals and objectives and talk about, the first was to put a small presentation together for the BOA meeting, the superintendents, to gauge the interest of the superintendents in bringing it to their boards to shift the time. Did I miss anything, Jen?
No, I mean, other than I think you and I discussed from the outset, the idea that we were not interested in engaging without the elementary districts being on board because it would be cost prohibitive to everybody.
Yes.
We weren't sure that the committee would feel the same way, but based off of sort of what we know of, I think, Donna's and mine's historical interactions with the board, we didn't imagine there was a desire to add to the elementary budgets and to the Amity budget in order to not share buses. But we wanted to make sure that the committee is comfortable with that too, in case we get those questions, I think, at the board level.
I think that's correct.
Andrea as well.
Yes. So that we had talked about that at the board meeting, didn't we? Saying that we couldn't move forward unless we had the discussion with the elementary schools.
Right. We might have some wiggle room. I think that that might not involve the elementary schools. Now, the adjustment would be small, but I think any adjustment to get a little more sleep for our students would be appreciated.
Is there a projected start time that you'd like it to start?
I think anyone would take whatever they could get right now. But, you know, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends, this has been 10 years ago, that adolescents shouldn't begin school before 8:30 in the morning. That's
so a full hour. So it would be flip-flopping the elementary and the middle school and high school.
Right, that would be ideal. Now there are some, if we were to go an entire hour, since it would, you know, there's a handful of districts that have changed their start times. Jen probably has all of that information as to, it's staggered. You could be anywhere from where we are to 7:45, 8:30. But there are challenges when you do that. So there's going to be some instructional time lost for the athletes who leave school early. And I don't know what that looks like as far as the number of students that leave and the frequency in which they leave early to get on a bus.
The other thing, I have not yet found a regional school district with our setup that has changed start times yet. So we would definitely be pioneering in this arena. Because most of the districts that have changed start times are K-12 districts, so they have full control over everybody's start schedule. I guess, Andrea, one strategy is to flip-flop to get us to the 8:30. The other strategy is to bump everybody by an hour. So that's, I mean, and again, I'm throwing it out there. I don't want everybody to think there's only one path, but that is the other strategy to try, is to just move everybody, shift everything by an hour.
So is our presentation going to include both of those things, saying that elementary districts, you wouldn't start till 9:30, we'd start at 8:30, and we could also flip-flop? Will we be sharing that information with them?
Personally, I don't think that's a good strategy, because I think the most dangerous thing we can do is for it to appear that Amity is strong-arming any decision-making whatsoever. I think the better strategy is to present the benefits to not just high school kids, but what are the benefits of these different schedules to elementary kids, and give them a reason to want to engage in the conversation. I think if we don't have that, then we're sort of lost.
Have you
So-
had the opportunity to present this to any of the other superintendents at this stage?
I let them know that Amity was in the process of exploring this, and asked them for how they wanted us to kind of bridge from our idea to their board. And their first request was to have Donna, as the lead on the committee, come and present to them. And that's the October 16th date. Now, if we don't get something together by then, our next meeting is early November, so it would be delayed by like 2 weeks. I think our next meeting is November 6th. So we're playing with about a 2 to 4 week window to kind of put together a persuasive presentation on why they should join us in this effort.
So
Okay.
Jen, when
you.
we present to them, are we going to talk about any of the complications? Like students have to leave, or we're just going to say?
No, I think we just want to invite them and see if they're willing to come to the table. I don't think we need to do much more work other than ask them if they're willing to come to the table, because if their answer from the outset is no, then our committee is done.
Right.
I think all of us, we're pretty well studied on this, because it's been brought up several times through the state legislature for the past 10 years. I think we know the pros and cons. And we know the challenges and the things we would have to overcome. So I don't think we have to get into the weeds there. I really think it has to be a strategy of, this is why it's good for your kids and your parents, and this is why we hope you engage in the conversation with us.
Okay. So engaging in the conversation is come and help us think through, right, the answer to the question.
Yeah. Let's, are you even willing to come and talk about the pros and cons and what it could look
I
like?
get it.
Or
Thank you.
are you just flat out like, no, this is a you problem and not us?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Jen and I talked about some of the benefits for the elementary schools. I mean, one of the.
So why don't we
Go ahead.
get to item 5? So if you allow me just for a second, just so that you know where the current landscape stands. I did collect some of this information.
Okay, great, thank you.
So you should be able to see my screen.
Yes, I can.
So in terms of where everybody currently is, you can see the elementary schools are fairly well grouped in terms of their start time. And obviously it's fed right off of the Amity start time. So essentially a bus run takes it can't be more than an hour. So we have that hour window basically between 7:34 when our kids get dropped off, and the buses go to do the run to get these students dropped off at the elementary schools in time for their 8:25/8:30 start time. So really we're looking at about a 50-minute window to get the second bus run done. And then kind of the flip side again, they all kind of finish up at about the same time. Amity ending at 2:18, We can talk a little more about the challenges with the afternoon, but the earliest time that the elementary schools stop is Orange at 2:40 for the kindergarten, and that's because those kids are actually shuttled to the other 3 elementary schools to go home, so they need to end a little bit earlier. But time-wise, we're all working in the same thing. I looked at contract language because obviously any change to the school day is going to impact the teachers. And 3 out of the 4 districts have very similar contract language. So Bethany, Woodbridge, and Amity all have this kind of concept of it's broadly stated. So teachers work a certain number of hours and they have a certain amount of what we call wraparound time. So some amount of time that they come in before the school day starts, some amount of time that they come in after, or they stay after the school day ends. And that seems to be a little more conducive of adjusting a school schedule. Orange has a extremely specific contract that lists as part of the contract the exact starting time for the teachers to begin their day and the exact starting time for the teachers to end their day. Out of everything, that is going to be a particular challenge from what I can see in a superintendent's role. And then I did collect data on athletic information just to give us some perspective there, because we do know that athletics would be impacted by the later start time. So this is all based off of last year's schedule. So we had 100, so with the current 2:18 dismissal time, we had 139 early release days or early releases for our students, for a total of about a little over 2,500 minutes of school missed. It averaged out for about 18 minutes for every single release. Most of the time, the kids get out at 2 o'clock. They get out a little bit earlier for some other competitions. If we started school 15 minutes later and assumed kind of the same pattern, we would have 11 more early release days. And if we started 30 minutes later, we would have 22 more early release days. I didn't even project out to the 8:30 start time because I think at that point, almost every athletic contest would have an early release. The one thing I will say is the athletic information does not include any middle schools, because the way we build our middle school competitions at this time, the kids get dismissed at 2:18 and they get the bus at 2:45. So it's set up so that they don't ever have to have an early release, but 2:45 is kind of our, obviously middle school, we compete closer, we don't travel as far. So that's kind of like the perfect time for our middle school release periods. So we can kind of keep this in mind if we go forward, and Ernie and I will sort of watch it with current year information, and we can project more to that 8:30 start time if we have to, but that is kind of where we are with the athletic info. So that was kind of just the sort of baseline details that I gathered to see sort of the lay of the land before we go about any of this.
Do you know how many students are in that 139 early release, just to have an idea?
No, I mean, I would say because he gave it to me by sport. And so I think the sport that had the most was boys and girls golf. They had about 9 to 10 early release days. There were a couple that just had 1. I'd say most of the teams seem to have like 3.
Okay,
Thank you, Jen. That's very helpful.
that's very helpful. So it puts it in a little perspective that they're not leaving 139 days. It's just some sports could be a few days, and look, it sounds like, pardon me, that the most is golf.
From what I could see, yes. For sure. But like I said, I didn't even bother to project out an hour later. It just, it was too much to sort of eyeball.
Right. And how many classes or periods are right now at the high school level? 6?
It's 8 drop 2. So it's 8.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's helpful. Any thoughts, anyone? Nothing?
No, what are our depths? I mean, we basically can't really do anything until we have agreement from elementary schools that they want to engage in the conversation, right? I think that's where we're at.
Right. Well, Jen and I talked a little bit about that there might be a tiny bit of wiggle room that wouldn't impact the shared services. But it would be better
I'm
to.
sorry, Donna, can you remind me again what that conversation involved?
I can't remember. You said like maybe 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, but it, based on what you just said, if there's a 50-minute run, it seems really tight.
Yeah, I think it would still come at a cost. You could add maybe 5 or 6 more buses. So instead of costing millions, it would be in the hundreds of thousands and shorten up runs to 40 minutes. But again, those are questions, of how far is the board willing to go financially to support this. If it's a total zero cost game, then you couldn't do that. But there may be some options to explore to just have shorter runs in altogether, without adding, all the buses, but maybe, 1 in Bethany and 2 in Woodbridge and 3 in Orange or something like that. But that would be a question, again, sort of going back to the board. Is this really supposed to be no cost, or are we willing to spend a little bit of something for it? And if we are, then we work with the transportation companies to see if it's possible.
Right.
I also think we want to maximize the time. I don't know that 15 minutes is worth. I mean, I'd like to know how many kids show up late, or if there's a study hall first. Like to me, 15 minutes is not enough time for, especially what we're trying to do for the adolescent population, right?
Right.
No, I agree with you. I mean, 15 minutes is 15 minutes. It's hardly worth all the effort and the juggling that's going to have to go into it.
Right. Okay.
And I can certainly get information. I think one of our challenges with kids showing up late is they're late far more often because the line at Starbucks was longer than they anticipated it to be. Then they were not able to wake up on time. So, and Mr. Brandt has the bird's eye view from his office of the kids who walk in, and I would say 80% of them have a Starbucks cup in their hand or a Dunkin'.
Which means a later start time and they'll still go to Starbucks.
Correct. That behavior isn't changing. And the line will still be long because all their friends are in front of them at the line.
Right. Well, they could be upcycling, they could just be recycling and using that cup again.
No.
Just for just for show. You don't know. You never know what kids do. Just saying. So working on, the benefits for adolescents, we talk about sleep, not falling asleep in class, learning, as well as not just academic performance, but athletic performance, truancy. Anyone else? Can you think of anything else, Jen?
I wouldn't say it impacts truancy behaviors per se. Tardiness behaviors, I think, is probably what you're going for more. Truancy doesn't change no matter what start time you have.
We don't have kids to say, okay, I'm already an hourly, I'm not going to go at all. It's not worth it. No.
Not traditionally.
They'll just show up eventually. Okay. And so for the elementary schools, the benefits for them. So also keeping in mind that the way that, and my understanding is that early dismissal is set up is so that the older kids can be at home before the younger kids get there. So
I mean, theoretically, yes, particularly specifically for what I would say are the emergency early dismissals, so the snow days. Planned early dismissals within our calendars, we all have different dates set for those.
Okay. So for, the benefits of the elementary school, I mean, they could, if we want to talk about that, it is opportunities for before school.
But doesn't the research also show that so while adolescents need a later time, early childhood needs an earlier time because they're up and ready to go, they can get to bed earlier. Like, isn't it the inverse of the two populations? What they need?
I mean, living with my grandchildren once in a while, I absolutely think you're right. Right? They're up at 6.
I can speak from personal experience of having 3 kids and they're up and we're waiting for school to start. But I don't know if everyone has that. I don't have the data on that, Jen. Do you?
I don't think we have the same body of research because I don't think they've studied younger students, because from having worked in both elementary and high school areas, young kids tend to want to come to school more than older kids, no matter what time the day starts. So I don't think they've parsed that out as much. I think anecdotally that tends to be tossed around a bit, and I'm sure we can probably try to see if we have some sort of literature or study that supports it. But probably I think more of the work has been done with adolescents than with the younger kids.
Yeah, I don't recall anything that, like I said, other than personal experience, that there has been a whole lot. So
right now I have, so specifically for elementary, I have improved opportunities for before school learning or learning enrichment.
So yeah, we have opportunities for learning enrichment. You also have.
And who would you propose as doing that?
You mean
just out of curiosity, I'm wondering if they say, well, if we present it and they say, okay, well, who's doing the before school enrichment?
Oh, who does it now? Don't they have some? I'm not sure.
No, I think they have sort of like a childcare.
Well, they have after school enrichment.
I believe, yes, one district has a really robust after-school program. The others have a little more like a park and rec kind of opportunity. I think there's a park and rec opportunity. Andrea may be able to clarify that there is one.
Right. So Woodbridge has an after
Yes, but again, I think we want to be careful because what Woodbridge has is not what Bethany and Orange has, and we don't want to say
Right.
something that would cause them to feel like they have to create something that they don't have yet.
No, but it is
Just something to think about. I mean, because again, I don't think anybody has a before school enrichment yet. And so if we ask them to add it, what's it going to look like and how might that work? But
how would they staff it?
who would pay for it?
Right.
Who would pay for it?
There is the option for park and rec in the morning in Bethany.
Okay.
But it's
Right.
not a program. It's not a program like you're describing. It's literally like before school care.
Right. So we can ask the elementary school that has the after school, but this is definitely a revenue generator for them for after school enrichment. Those are all good questions. I'm not sure who would pay for it. That would be, that would, I guess we would just put it as an opportunity. And if
Yep. For right now, I think for your convincing argument, you put it as an opportunity.
And then the other, I think if for the households that have older children in the home, that they'll have them there to put them on the bus. So parents who work, it wouldn't really get in the way of their schedules, because I do know parents, once again, personal experience, that they would wait at the bus stop, and when the bus picked up their kid, they would head to work. But they adjusted their schedules to wait till the bus came and picked up their young kiddos.
And you said there's no contract issues, right? I heard that right.
Oh, no, Orange is a huge
Orange.
contract issue.
Just Orange.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, I will be, right, because every contract negotiation, if you want something, you give something. Unless I had a real clear benefit from the perspective of the board and the superintendent, this wouldn't be something that I would want to give on because it's going to cost, again, too much money on the flip side for what I would have to bargain in exchange for it. But like, if they really wanted something like wraparound time the way we have and not that specific time, then maybe it works out.
Right. When are their contracts negotiated?
Every 3 years. So Orange, I think they're in a brand new contract this year. Our order of operations goes, Woodbridge goes the first year, and then Bethany and Amity goes together, and then Orange, I think, goes last. Tom, I can see you clicking and looking. But I have a feeling, I feel like I remember Dr. Scarpetti doing the negotiations last year. So I'm going to guess they're in the first year of a 3-year contract.
Okay. And I'm going to guess this teacher contracts, because I haven't been involved in teacher contracts, are not easy to adjust.
No, they're not.
Orange runs through June 2028.
Okay.
2028. Might take that long just to get everybody on board. So contract 2028, 6/20/28 is Orange teacher contracts. So can anyone else, other than the start times and improved opportunities for enrichment, before school enrichment, and even after school, because if the choice is, they might still have to have before and after school, depending on their start time, because the enrichment at Woodbridge, if I remember correctly, does go to 5. I'm not sure. I didn't utilize it. So I'm not sure what the time. So there's before and after. Because parents who work as well. But you said Bethany and Orange only have the rec programs, right?
That is my understanding.
There might be an opportunity to develop different programs too. Now, once again, it's going to take time to identify who's going to pay for it and how this would look. And that's why we need to see if they're even interested. So I have, we have older kids in households, and we also have other opportunities. I'm not sure, I don't know if there's any research or data about the impact changing a start time either earlier for kids, later. That would, I'm going to guess not, unless there is before school opportunities for enrichment, that parents may not be that interested in having their day shift that much. Because if we're saying, and what would it be? So if there was an 8 o'clock, they could start at 8:45, 8:50. That would be tight, but it would be a small shift. Does anyone else have any other opportunities for the elementary schools? No?
Ms. Schuster, I did share with the committee members, to Ms. Hubbard's question, a research article published in 2023 regarding
Okay.
outcomes for younger children.
Oh,
It's fairly lengthy. It's about 30 pages, but the committee members do have access
okay.
to full potential outcomes.
Okay, great. You can look.
And all of us?
Yes, I sent it,
Did you email or drop it in the chat?
emailed.
Okay, I was just looking in the chat for it. Okay, great. We could take a look at that and see if there's any others. So that will take a little time to look through. And we can look for one for others as well. Okay, so what do you think,
You
Jen?
haven't lost me. I'm scrolling through my brain.
What was that? I'd have to look at it. I don't want to, I don't think you can use the time right now to look at them.
Kathy, you're sort of going in and out. Do you want to ask your question again?
I said, you haven't lost me. I'm scrolling through my brain, round around trying to think, right? Trying to get creative.
Right. So I mean, if we have, I mean, great if we had more than one study, we could look and see if there are others, but it's timely. It's 2023, if I heard that correctly. I don't want to look through my email right now.
I would just to support the process, I would encourage the committee members. There's about 100 references cited at the end to other research articles. So if, as the committee reviews it, if you do need access to any of those articles, certainly let me know, and I should be able to get those. But it does reference about another 100 articles throughout the scope of that research article.
Okay. Well, I think we need to take the time to look at that. I don't know if we can, without reading that, we're going to have anything else to add. So it doesn't look like, based on that we're going to be able to meet the October 16th time. So it looks like it's going to be November.
And look, I'm thinking that you maybe, hang on. That as a committee, you may want to meet 2 more times. One to sort of synthesize any points you pull from those articles, and the last to kind of draft up this sort of, and again, think about what is this presentation to the superintendent's going to look like, right? Is it a PowerPoint? Is it a brochure, a handout, an infographic, like something to invite them along? So, but I think you would want to kind of synthesize those key points and figure out what it's going to look like at the next meeting, and then kind of have a right before you go before them meeting. I can absolutely confirm that it will be on Thursday, November 6th, and we are in Orange, and we typically start at 12:30. So we would definitely need our committee chair available, and then anybody else who would like to join her in presenting.
Okay. So, or we can look at their availability. That would be great. So when do you suggest the next meeting then, Jen? So we
Well,
can...
that's really up to all of you.
Okay. So Jen, as a superintendent, what do you believe would be more powerful to convince? Would a combination of PowerPoint and a brochure, so a takeaway, a PowerPoint and a takeaway?
Yeah, I think a 1-page info sheet.
Right.
We get PowerPointed all the time. I don't
Right.
think we need to have another one. But it's kind of a one page sort of info sheet. And and again, I think we would want to clarify our goals, like, and maybe we need to just make sure the committee's in the right place. But I heard Kathy and Andrea both say, shifting 10 minutes, is it really even worth it to make such a small change for such a small return? Or do we really go in saying we really would like to start at 8:30, and this is how, we need your support to get us there.
I think it's important, Jen, you made this point in the beginning, right? To solicit their input and their thoughts, that this is not a directive.
Yes.
Right, the decision is not made.
Right.
And I think that has to be very clear in how we present the material.
Right. You want to collaborate, work together. Right. You want to do it.
I think you almost want to create an infographic that's an invitation. That's what we're going for. So a reason why they would want to attend our party. And that it is an invitation for engaging.
I like that. Also knowing it's going to take time to, if everyone wants to come to the party, it will take time to work this out and to implement. My understanding is other districts have spent quite a bit of time, even though they are K through 12, they take quite a bit of time to move along, because it's, once you get the districts, you also need to get the community. But one step at a time. Okay. Everyone in agreement?
Does 4 o'clock still work for everybody in terms of a time to meet?
Good for me.
Yes.
Yes.
And do you think the superintendents might hit hard on the contract?
Yeah.
Even though
I-
it's only orange, even though it's only orange, that's difficult.
Yes, I think so. I think, I mean, I don't know, and again, I didn't dive into every ounce of their contract, but there could be potential impact bargaining for changing the school start times. Because, you know, as a teacher, perhaps I've set up my childcare based on the schedule like that I've assumed, and if you change that on me, now it's impacting me. So I think, you know, that's why I collected that information, because the contracts can be, you know, a challenge for us. I also have to look at what our bus contracts say, because we also will have obligations, right? We don't just need to get the elementary kids to school and the high school kids back and forth. We also have all these buses that do athletic trips, and I'm not sure what, you know, I don't think we have a ton of limits, but that's, you know, there's a lot of contracts involved in making this decision that I think we just have to be cognizant of, and that in some ways they will be cognizant of. The good thing is we share a contract with Bethany and Woodbridge for transportation. We all have the same one. Orange has its own contract, so that's again where our outlier could potentially be.
Okay.
The
So we-
reason I asked the question is because we said it's only orange that has contractual issues. I don't want us to walk away thinking somebody might just throw a stone, right? That it's not just because there's no contractual wording, it's not as easy as it seems.
I agree. I agree that from all parties. It may not be easy for Amity, to be very honest.
Right. I think that other districts have they've taken time, but they've gotten community members and teachers. Now, this is just the beginning. So first we need to figure out the superintendents. But that's good to know, Jen. I thought that we had shared services with all 3 districts for buses.
So we share them, but we don't have the same contract.
Okay. So financially impact, you mean the financial impact?
Correct.
Okay, so the financial impact is, so we all share the same stream of buses,
Yes.
don't,
Share the same provisions of what they do when they work for us.
this is just financially, got it.
Well, it's more than financial, but it's, yeah.
Well, what else is it?
It's whether or not they have cameras on the buses, the types of radios they carry,
Oh, okay.
how far they can drive before you pay overage fees, all the things that go into a bus contract.
Okay, well this would be a learning for me because I don't know, I don't have any experience with bus contracts.
Well, and they may have other commitments. You know, they have a set schedule, they may have other commitments.
Right. Okay.
So can I propose Tuesday, October 14th at 4 for our next meeting? We should all have read the homework Mr. Brandt found for us, as well as anything else, and come with some ideas of talking points to convince the elementary districts to come along with us.
Is there another day? I have another commitment on the 14th.
We could do the 15th at 4. I don't really want to push it outside of that week because I think then you're going to still need another 2 weeks to sort of pull everything together, and that'll bring you right up to the BOA meeting.
The 15th at 4, yes. I'm available. I don't know anyone else's schedule looks like.
I'm not available, Donna, but you'll have Carol too, right? Carol's on this committee.
Yes, check with
Yes.
Carol
So
as well.
Kathy, can you do the 15th at 4?
I can.
You can. So
Yes.
Donna, can you please confirm with Carol? Because if Carol doesn't join us, we don't have a quorum and then it's not a meeting.
Okay. Do we have a secondary date in case she's not available on the 15th?
I mean, my other recommendation would be then the 16th at 4.
Okay, so the 5th, Andrea, are you available at 4 o'clock on the 16th by any chance? I know you said Mondays and Tuesdays, right?
I think I can do that. It's a Thursday. I think so.
Okay. All right, so I'll ask Carol and then the 16th will be, and I'll email you, Jen, and let you know her availability.
I'll put a hold on both of them until I hear from you.
Okay,
And
All
then
right.
I do think while we're here, we should probably look for that second meeting date before calendars fill up. So I'm thinking, right, let me just make sure I got both of those right. So you would probably want to come together some point during the week of the, I would say 27th. I maybe up through November 3rd. I think after November 3rd, it's too close to when you're presenting to make any meaningful changes. So I can do Monday that day, Tuesday that day, Wednesday that day. I cannot do Thursday or Friday, and I could do Monday the 3rd.
What week are we in, Jen?
I'm looking the week of October 27th.
Okay, I can only do Monday and Wednesday because I'm doing early voting. I'm working at the polls all day on Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
Do you want, Andrea, what's your availability look like the week of
Monday.
So either
It would be just like this. We'd have a meeting, then we'd cut at 5, drive to policy, go to the board meeting, just kind of mush it all in. So
is that our next board meeting is the 27th?
no, we have one on the 6th. We have one next Monday also.
Okay, so we have the 6th and then the 27th, but not
Yes.
the 3rd.
No, not the 3rd.
All right, do you want to set the 27th as
Sure
a
can.
meeting at 4? Okay. The 27th, okay.
Are you scheduling the 6th? Is that right?
So the 6th is already on our schedule. So that one is confirmed. It is November 6th at 12:30 at the Orange Public School District offices.
Right, that is when the next, so the two BOA meetings were either 10/16, I'm sorry, yeah, 10/16 or 11/6. So in order to meet the deadline for 11/6, 10/27 would be better. So we'll do,
I'm good for the 27th, as I said.
okay, so we'll put the 27th at 4 p.m. and I will let Jen know if we're going to do the 15th or the 16th at 4 o'clock, and I'll check in with Carol to see what her availability looks like. Okay.
Okay, thank you for chairing this.
Thank you for agreeing to be, well, we'll see how short-lived it is and how far we get. But thank you, Andrea, for looking for that article, for that research for us.
Sure.
I appreciate it. And we have a little bit of homework. And
All right, we'll still do it policy.
yes, and
All right, great. Thanks, everybody. Are you adjourning the meeting, Ms. Schuster?
I am. Do we need to have?
Nope, you can just adjourn without objection at 4:48.
Let's adjourn at 4:48 without objection.